You're listening to the T21 Podcast, brought to you by Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks. Our mission is to bring life and wellness to families who are advocating towards a community of inclusion for individuals with Down syndrome. Hello and welcome to the T21 Podcast. My name is Chloe Jones and joining with me is Amy Bullard.
Hey guys.
Here on the T21 Podcast, we explore topics that are relevant to the Down syndrome community in 21 minutes or less. And today we have a really fun episode here. It's the 2025 recap video. So we're so excited to get started. But first, if you could like this video and subscribe to our podcast, and if one of our topics resonates with you, especially the ones we talk about today in our recap, please share this with your family and friends. We want to get this information out to as many people as possible, and you can help us do it. Well, today, what an incredible year it has been on the T21 Podcast.
It has been such an incredible year filled with so much important information for our families and listeners. I just feel like all the topics that we've had have resonated with somebody, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we kick things off with an inspiring conversation with Tyson and John, or Tyson and Rosie, as we learned, a father-son duo whose story of learning and supporting independence set the tone for the year.
It did. Awesome. The best part of Rosie and Tyson is the way that they fostered independence in Tyson. So it wasn't just about do this chore, cook like this. It was about, hey, we're going to meal plan. We're going to set alarms for you to stay independently by yourself and make sure that you're safe. It was doing drive-bys to make sure that he was actually safe. And so it was a long process. But in the end, Tyson is very independent, able to stay on his own, cook his own meals, do his own hygiene, get himself where he needs to be. And it's very awesome.
Yeah. If you have not seen that episode, make sure you go back and watch that one because that's a really, really good one to watch.
It is very great.
Well, and then from there, we dove into the world of support coordination with Jennifer Giordano. And she talked so much about her valuable insight into how families can best navigate resources within our community, as like getting staffing and having a support coordinator and what that actually meant. So that was so important.
It was so important, and we learned that in that process, starting early and being patient is a very big key, because there are wait lists often to get through the waivered system and to get support coordination. And so it's if you feel like you're going to need to go down that path, you need to be patient, but start early. Don't wait too long. It's never early.
And then on that same episode, we got to talk about advocacy and who to call for your representatives and getting things to them that need to be done.
The squeaky wheel, right?
Literally.
Like, keep going.
Well, then from there, we welcomed John and Natalie Middlecamp, who shared their heartfelt journey of welcoming their little baby Rhett, who's not a baby anymore, but and supporting other local families receiving new diagnoses of Down syndrome.
Yes, and Natalie does an awesome job. Actually, both of them, Johnny and Natalie. But Natalie goes and meets with our new moms, and I think the biggest takeaway from that episode is she said that fear is a liar. And what she means by that is you hear all these doom and gloom things about having a child with Down syndrome, or that diagnosis, right? Like you might have the heart stuff, and you might have the stomach stuff, and you might have all these delays, but all you're doing is worrying yourself. And really, if you just enjoy the baby and the gift that you were actually given, right, then it's actually a miracle. And so I think that's my favorite takeaway. And that's what she shares with the families that she visits. Like, hey, don't let all this bog you down.
Yeah, and here's our sweet boy Rhett.
Right.
And this is who he is and how much of a gift he is and a joy.
Right.
So, yeah, so Natalie, we talked about it, but she often brings newborn baskets that we create with Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks to our local hospitals and our new moms to just welcome them and congratulate them. So that was really fun having her and her husband John on the podcast. Well, so from there, we focused on more education. And we featured Amber Peck, who helped us understand accommodations in the classroom.
Yes, and she talked a lot about accommodations versus modifications. And so accommodations are making a change to the environment. whereas a modification is modifying the curriculum to meet the student's needs. And so she talked about understanding what each student needs and navigating the differences between the two of them in order to individualize a plan to help that student succeed.
I learned so much from that episode, and I think that if you're going into the IEP process, that's an episode that you should watch.
Yeah.
For sure. Right. And then you learn all of the vocabulary that you're going to be seeing and using throughout that process. So really good episode to watch. And then we had Brittany Steckline, who showed us how inclusion can truly transform an entire school's culture.
It can, and what she does within her classroom is just miraculous.
What I would give to have been in her classroom as a kid.
It's amazing. She creates a culture within her classroom that every learner in her room, whether they have an IEP or not, feels safe, they feel comfortable, and that they're learning. And she will navigate that however it needs to look to make sure that everyone feels like that. And one of the things she talked about was when she was gone and she had a substitute, and the students were really stressed out that their friend wasn't going to be able to come into the classroom because they hadn't moved the desk out of the way. And so they did it. They just, for the sub, the students moved the desk, and so that their friend that was in a wheelchair could get in the room. And I think that's awesome because it created the culture. The sub didn't need to do that. The kids did.
Yeah, and they knew it had to be done, and they did it. Mm-hmm. So cool. And then our next guest was behavior specialist Katie Adams, which she shared amazing takeaways on understanding behavior, so much so that we actually had her on one of the Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks life groups to come and talk to young families about behavior. And she's so awesome. She had so many takeaway points that
so many takeaways. And the biggest takeaway is that when you're trying to change behavior, you have to make everything in front of you feel like Disneyland. So it doesn't matter how big or how small the task is that you're asking them to do. You need it to feel like Disneyland in order for them to buy into what you're doing. And I love everything about that.
Which sounds like, I think from a parent's perspective, they're going to be like, wow, that's kind of draining. But it's actually, it makes everything more fun.
Oh, yeah, everything.
And then you achieve what you're wanting.
Right. And I'm sure her house does feel like Disneyland.
That's so cool. And then we had Kenlyn Shuttlesworth on, who is a part of the Mizzou Extension, and she talked to us about healthy lifestyles and nutrition, and then that conversation actually blossomed into a really exciting partnership. So we had Kenlyn lead in Mizzou Extension, lead a cooking or nutrition class with Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks at a local nonprofit called the Springfield Dream Center, and that was so cool. We got to learn different recipes, healthy eating, budgeting, portion control. They got tons of giveaway items. At the end, they got an appliance. Like, it was an awesome experience. So that was really cool.
It was awesome just to form that relationship. So even the podcast was mostly about making healthy lifestyles, but it blossomed into so much more than that.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that's been really cool about this podcast is the connections we've made. Amy and I were talking about it right before this, like how cool that we got to meet these people and have these conversations, and it's been like the best part of this whole thing.
Right.
So, and then we explored the importance of planning for the future with Nate Mort.
And Nate has a lot of great information. That information is really hard sometimes to listen to because people aren't thinking about their future. But what we know is that benefits planning and planning for your future doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and it takes planning and having somebody that understands the ins, outs, and upside downs of it, because there's so many different types and things and ways to go about it. And so the takeaway that I have is start early, get somebody to help you that knows, and be patient again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see we have a private Facebook group just for our parents and families, and I see people constantly asking questions about planning for the future and benefits planning, and so make sure, go back and check out that episode if that's in the stage of life that you're in, because he has a lot of good information.
Definitely. And
then we wrapped up the year with, well, not the year, but one of our last episodes with Jen Welton, who is our board of directors president of Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks, and she gave us her sibling perspective on growing up alongside her brother Trent, who has Down syndrome. So that was a really special conversation.
And they have a very special bond, and it's very unique. And the way that Jen and Trent grew up is really the way that I wish that everyone would, because Jen never looked at Trent as having Down syndrome. She just looked at him as her brother and did life as if I'm just taking my brother out and we're going to go do all these things. And so they did whatever they wanted to do, and there was never any thought of, oh, Trent maybe can't do this or shouldn't do this. It was like, we're just going to go and we're going to
if I'm doing it, he's doing it.
Right. And we're going to live here and now, and we're not going to worry about the future. We're just going to just do it. And I think that's such a fun way, right? And it's such a close bond to be formed by doing it that way.
Exactly. And then our last episode was with Morgan and Joseph, and they are just so fun to be around, and it's really cool to just see firsthand that they've grown in so much independence and all that they're doing and their goals and what they're learning. It was really fun to have them on.
Fun to have friends, best of friends, and they've been friends for a while, guys. Yeah. To have them living together and learning together as adults, like, it doesn't get much more fun than that.
They've built such a cool community, and everyone around them is so supportive. It's really, really cool to see how they navigate their lives together.
And as you can hear on the podcast, they are very attached to their staff, and that makes part of the community. If you have great staff, it's gonna go really well.
Going back to Jennifer with support coordination,
right?
Learn how to get some staff.
Who is Joseph's mom?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've had so much fun on the T21 podcast. As I've mentioned several times, Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks is who sponsors the T21 podcast, and we're obviously very intertwined with them. Everything we do is a part of DSGO and Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks. So not only did we want to recap the T21 podcast and all we've done here, but we've also wanted to recap DSGO and Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks. Same thing.
Yeah.
And Upside Down Mercantile, because so much growth has happened in the past year. We wanted to share it. Well, so if you don't know, if this is the first podcast you're listening to, Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks is the local nonprofit for Southwest Missouri that supplies and gives out resources to individuals with Down syndrome and their families. So we have a branch in Springfield, Missouri, and we also have one in Joplin, Missouri. So we are continuing to grow and create opportunities and for connection and inclusion. So a few of the things that we've done so far is we have quarterly life groups that get together for each age group. Those have been a blast to have throughout the year. We had our cooking class that we had with Kenlyn Shuttlesworth and the Mizzou Extension this past year. We've had several events like the World Down Syndrome Day celebration, Step Up and Splash, which is our buddy walk event, and lastly, Santa's Workshop, which is like the most amazing one of all.
It's truly magical. Truly magical.
It's been so awesome. And then, so this year we actually had on October 1st our grand reopening of Upside Down Mercantile. So that's actually where we film. So if you've noticed, where we film is very different than where we used to film. And you've gotten to see little tidbits of our new shop. So it's been really awesome being in here. We have so much more new space, and we have 21 brands developed by people with Down syndrome that are all locals.
And this space is so much bigger, so it allows for more brands to be brought in, and also a really cool coffee shop
next to us that you can't see.
Yeah.
So it has been a year full of growth, connection, and celebration, and we've loved sharing it all with you through the T21 podcast. So we made a recap video for you guys to watch, but we wanted to first say thank you for tuning in, supporting, and celebrating with us, and happy holidays, and have an amazing rest of your year.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
listen to. That's okay. I just like to dance. I like to sing more. I like to dance.